right. And action. Welcome to SmackDown! Oh my God, this is great! If you we could have a new champion! No! You will step into the ring!
WWF SmackDown released in March of 2000 and it was an enormous success, trouncing WCW Mayhem in sales, tallying 3.58 million units sold globally. I called it PlayStation's first WWF champion in part 1, because that's what it was to fans on the PlayStation side. We finally had a game worthy of a championship. Things stayed red hot on the Nintendo side as WWF No Mercy was released on November 17th of 2000. It would go down in history as one of the best wrestling games ever made. Could the PlayStation keep up? 4 days after the release of No Mercy, it was time to find out.
Your Olympic hero has arrived. It's true. Hey, think die, kid. You people have to be honored to have a man of intensity, integrity, and intelligence among you. Yes, I'd like a room, please.
Sorry, no vacancy!
Oh, that's okay. I'll take theirs. Here come my fans.
Prepare to lay the SmackDown in the all-new Hell in a Cell or in a high-flying ladder match. WWF SmackDown 2. Know your role for the PlayStation game console. You think you got what it takes, jabroni?
I love this place.
Rated T for teen.
WWF SmackDown 2 is the only numbered sequel in the entire series, which I find kind of weird, but it definitely adds enough to feel like a sequel. These days, games like Madden often get trashed by gamers because they feel like they're paying $60 a year for a roster update. SmackDown 2 fortunately did not get the memo on that one, as not only does it improve on several of the features present in the last game, but it has expanded the roster and added 6 new match types. I so desperately wanted to put someone through a table in the first game that I tried to convince myself that an enormous casket might possibly be a table. Well, my wishes were granted, as SmackDown 2 was, to my knowledge, the first game to ever feature a table match. And guess what? They're super fun. If you're unfamiliar, a table match ends when one wrestler slams the other through a table. Here, we've got 2 ways to get that done. First, you can lay your opponent on the table and dive off the top rope to smash them through. If that doesn't sound like fun, you can Irish whip your opponent onto the table and perform a grapple. This gets you on top of the table, where you can deliver either a pile driver, power bomb, or, if you're The Rock, a rock bottom through the table. I always wondered why more characters didn't have special table finishers. Why just The Rock? Would the pedigree not have looked awesome going through a table? Ladder matches make their first PlayStation appearances here as well. It was a feature sorely missing from the first game, and while it's nice to have it as an option, it doesn't seem totally fleshed out. Ladder matches in pro wrestling take time. You've really got to put a beating on your opponent before you can climb up and retrieve the title. And by the time they're hurt enough for you to make the climb, you're hurt too. It's a whole process. In SmackDown 2, that's not what ladder matches feel like. You climb faster than shit, and you can literally jump and reach for the title within seconds of the match starting. I finished the ladder match in 55 seconds, and I wasn't even trying to go fast. It was literally my first attempt at the title, and I snatched it out of the sky. And what the hell is going on with the title hanging above the ring anyway? Why is it flying all over the place? Why is there no cable hanging from the ceiling? Why is it always the European title, no matter what championship is on the line? Like I said, it doesn't feel totally fleshed out and finished, but it's fun nonetheless. TLC matches are here too, after you unlock them in season mode. It's a ladder match that also provides tables and chairs, so we don't have to spend too much time on that. Slobberknocker Mode is endless fun. If you're a fan of Mortal Kombat, you love the arcade ladder where the game stacks the deck and puts a whole army of opponents in front of you. In Slobberknocker Mode, you've got 10 minutes to murder as many other wrestlers as possible. Your finisher bar charges much faster and your opponents are much weaker than usual, making one finisher enough to knock out most opponents. I love this mode. Whoever thought a high score is something players would strive for in a wrestling game? Casket matches are new, but they're kinda weird. In actual wrestling, you win a casket match by throwing your opponent into the ringside casket and closing the lid.
in the casket.
In SmackDown 2, the casket is simply in the ring with you and you can do whatever you want with it. Casket matches have never been fought like this in any wrestling company to my knowledge. Like I said in part 1, caskets are too fucking heavy to swing around like this. It looks silly. And speaking of looking silly, guess how you win? Do you do your finishing move and the game animates you slamming your opponent into the casket? Nope. Do you toss them into the casket and trigger a minigame where you button mash trying to fill a meter until the casket lid slams shut? Nope. You whip your opponent into the casket, kick them, and a door appears out of nowhere leading to a knockout. What the fuck? Last but definitely not least, Hell in a Cell makes its video game debut here. And while it's fun, I have a few questions. Did the game designers not know what the cell looked like? Never once did WWF have a cage match with a roof on it. The cell expands to the outside of the ring in real life, it always has. So how they wound up with this design is beyond me. But on to the positives. Yeah, I know I complain a lot in these, but that's the point. I want to talk about these games the way I remember them, and not all of my memories are A+ level. But anyway, every feature you want out of a cell match is here. You can break out, climb on top, smash your opponent through the roof. It's a hell of a lot of fun. There's even a punch counter you can use to throw your opponent off the top of the cell, but it's really rare and hard to pull off. In 17 years, I can count how many times I've done it on one hand. And wouldn't you know it, while I was trying to pull it off for the sake of this video, it happened to me. That's fucking awesome. The first thing we hear when turning on the game is JR talking to us.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is proof anything can happen in the World Wrestling Federation.
So there's got to be commentary here, right? No, not at all. Why tease us with commentary if there's not going to be any in the game? Not an ounce of it. I mean, even bad commentary would have been better, right? It would have been better than nothing.
People's champ is different from other superstars.
What the fuck was that? Season mode has gotten a bit of an overhaul. There are more cutscenes to keep stories alive, and when you skip a match, it cuts to a versus screen where the wrestler's health bar shrinks until somebody loses. Everything is generally more connected, which is fun, but oh my god with the fucking loading screens. You start at the main menu for season mode, and you can either proceed to the card, check the status of any wrestler, look at the belt records, rankings, so on and so forth. Every single thing you click on needs a loading screen. Interested in belt records? You get a loading screen to open the menu, and a loading screen when you want to leave. Want to see where you are in the rankings? There's a loading screen on both sides of that, too. There are an average of 4 cutscenes per event, which leads to 8 fucking loading screens. There are a million different graphics, but Jesus Christ, I hope you enjoy them, because you're going to see them a lot. They're everywhere. The last game didn't have this, so what's going on here? Why is this necessary? It makes this mode nearly unplayable. Also, I started season mode as Chris Benoit because this game came out in 2000 and he was still a role model. And in the first game season mode, I was constantly put in matches that made no sense. In this game, I'm not being used at all. Seriously, 2 weeks in and I haven't even been on the card. Now I know how Emma feels. Something about the main menu music always made me uneasy. It bothers me to this day. What the fuck are they even saying? It sounds like slaves, slaves. Mark Madden, Mark Madden. Where, Bob? I feel like ghosts and other weird spirits are trying to communicate with me through the game and I don't like it. I really can't explain it. I'm not even trying to be funny. When I was a kid, I would honestly mute the TV at the main menu. I don't like it. I still don't like it. Recording this has bothered me. There's a cool Easter egg that only happens sometimes when you play a Royal Rumble match. For some reason, the Big Show will sporadically appear toward the end of the match. He has no entrance music, and his name bar is unlabeled. I always got excited when this happened because it's one of those things you could tell your friends at school. It was weird because Big Show isn't in this game. It was like they meant to include him but never finished him, or they left him out for some reason, and this is the only time you get to see him? I don't know. I still don't know the meaning behind this, but I remember it happening a lot as a kid. Another super cool thing is the inclusion of announce tables. These were almost sure to be destroyed in every big match I ever had. What's not to like about smashing someone through the broadcast table? And I'm no racist. I'll smash the Spanish and US announce tables. I don't give a fuck. If you look off in the distance, you can see the 2D versions of Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross doing commentary, which is strange that they're there since there's no commentary in the game, but it's cool to see them either way. Oh, and championship belts are finally here. Champions wear their title to the ring as long as the title's being defended. While I was overjoyed to see the belts, the nitpicker in me was always annoyed with how the wrestlers carried them. Have you ever seen a wrestler flip the belt over his shoulder? They hang onto the strap to keep it in place. So why the fuck do they place their palm over the whole center plate in the game? What the hell is that? Move your hand, I want to see the belt! The ranking system was something I commented on in the first game, and I actually think it's gotten worse in SmackDown 2. Now, each belt has its own division, almost like the weight classes in the UFC. If you want to challenge for the Intercontinental title, you have to be in the Intercontinental title rankings. And once you enter the Intercontinental title rankings, you can't challenge for the WWF Championship, because you're not in the WWF Championship rankings. What the hell is that about? Let me make spontaneous and poor decisions! Tag team matches are definitely more interesting and fun in SmackDown 2. The introduction of double team moves went a long way. You want to hit the 3D? Go for it. Oh yeah. Also, I figured this out on accident one time. There's a glitch on the stage that allows you to float in the air and climb onto a plane that doesn't exist. You can repeat this over and over again until you meet your heart's desire. I don't know why I thought this was so entertaining as a kid, but it's one of those things I just wanted to point out. Hardcore matches were all the rage at this time in the WWF, and it would not be fair to not put over how many different areas you can fight in this game. There's parking lots, locker rooms, offices. Each location has new weapons you can hit your opponent with. There's different kinds of tables you can slam each other through backstage. This was really a hardcore match lover's dream. To go from area to area, you just have to stand next to the red arrow until it turns blue, then just run into it. You don't have to Irish whip your opponent anymore. You can dictate the pace. But you have to be careful, or else you might get hit by a car. Hi, I'm Steve Blackman. Welcome to Jackass. All in all, SmackDown 2 definitely scratched the itch that PlayStation fans were feeling after the release of the first game. Table matches, ladder matches, Hell in a Cell, these were features that we were dying for, and we got what we wanted. The main takeaway from SmackDown 2 is that it came out less than a year after the original. Seriously, there was barely 8 months between the two releases. As a kid, I didn't get my copy on day one. I had to wait until Christmas. And I feel like that was the case for most kids. Good luck trying to get your parents to buy you another SmackDown game in November when they just spent $50 on one in March. That's insane. That wraps up my review of WWF SmackDown 2 on the PlayStation. It was the last game WWF would release on the PlayStation, and I look back on it very fondly, even if I'm still pointing out some of the weird things that I notice about it. Because these games are not perfect, and I want these videos to feel personal. I don't want you to be able to find this video anywhere else. This is how I remember SmackDown. This was just part 2 in a 5-part series where I'm going to cover the entire SmackDown games collection, at least the classic ones. So I hope to see you next time when we cover
WWF SmackDown! Just bring it!
What the fuck was that?